Hi Virgo, it's Jenny here with your September Tarot Horoscope, and a big happy birthday to, there's a card. Big happy birthday to you who are having your birthday in September. So I've got a card for you. First 2/3 of the month is Virgo season, then we have the September equinox, and then we'll be rolling into Libra season. So the card for you this September is the Three of Wands reversed. The way it looks the right way up. So we have this figure here, this man, he's standing on the shore, he's got these butterflies in front of him, these wands up here, and looking away he's also seeing these three-masted ship, whether it's leaving, coming back, not really sure. And then down here there's this shadowy figure of a woman reaching out to him, again, not sure, beckoning, pushing him away, kind of connected to the ocean there. And there's this, it's upside down like that. Okay, so we're going to take a look. Three of Wands here. Okay. Three of Wands, prudence. The human longing for distant shores shows up on this card in several forms. The big ship symbolizes wanderlust, the spirit of adventure, and the yearning for faraway places. The female silhouette does not represent any particular woman, but women in general, the mother archetype or the feminine principle. Many philosophers have described the ocean as the eternally feminine, the source and aim of all our striving. The female silhouette and the ship hint at opposing desires, the longing for closeness and the desire for remoteness, for home and abroad, arrival and departure. This requires a lot of practical experience and individual metamorphoses. Personal advances, represented by the butterflies, unite instincts and actions, symbolized by wands and the ship, patiently and serenely, the shadowy woman in the ocean, in such a way that one does not take precedence over the other. What's so special about this image is the way that the woman and the ship are connected. Even the greatest of undertakings are based on aspects close to hand, namely in personal relationships. It is contact with others that gives us the energy and the fuel to go forth into the farthest corners of the earth. Practical advice. Acting half-heartedly is a waste of time. If you put all your effort and all your power into something, you will succeed. Become clear what it is that you want to achieve and which personal and emotional needs are related to your most important goals. Deliberate action is the key to passion as distinguished from mere enthusiasm. Be aware of what you are doing. Okay, yeah, so this card comes up and it always has this sort of, it's this melancholy feel. It's this feeling of longing or yearning for something. And longing and yearning as an emotion, it's set the poets off for a very long time, especially this connection to the ocean. The ocean has long been this image, of the feminine, but also of this yearning, this longing of something that is vast and untamed. There's so much adventure, but it also pulls you away from home. So there's so much like kind of twisted up kind of feelings, and that this yearning and longing is multi-directional. It can go any way. If you're on an adventure, you can be yearning for home. And if you're at home, you can be longing for adventure or to go far away or to be somewhere you're not. So this feeling of this melancholy or this yearning that happens it's something that can be, as most things, it can take you either way. If you cannot learn how to be satisfied or to be in acceptance, then yearning and longing can undermine so much of your present moment by always wishing you're somewhere else. And yet, yearning has this really, really important impetus, because if you don't ever want something to change, you're never going to cause something to change. So longing is this really important kind of lighting a fire under your ass to say, hey, maybe where you're at presently is actually not where you're supposed to be. Maybe there's something else out there. Maybe you have a passion and a desire, and that passion is calling out to be met. And so this feeling of discomfort is this kind of prod to say, like, to get you moving in action to something of where you're really supposed to be or where you're really going to thrive. So it's this both, if you're in the place of thriving and then you're always yearning and you're unsatisfied, then you're not going to be and not in the present, but always thinking, what could be else? What's happened before? I want to be in the past or the future. Then you can really get kind of unmoored, like a ship without anchor or a dock, where you're just adrift between the past and the future, and unable to land into the present. But when it is a very present and connected to your passions and your desires, it can pull you out of a situation that you've been really stagnant in and set you off somewhere else where you need to go. So even just this last line here, deliberate action is the key to passion as distinguished from mere enthusiasm. So are you the kind of person, or are you in the state where you're just sort of sitting on the dock here and you're just like, oh, I'm so sad. I wish I was at sea, or I wish I was there. And that's just what I wish. And this sort of passive yearning where it's kind of like, I wish it would be dropped into my lap. Like, I just wish a magic wand would come and give me what I want. But I don't really wish it enough to take action, or there's some other sort of fear I have, or I don't believe it could happen, or I don't think I deserve it, or all the other blocks that mean you just have the feeling without the action, as opposed to the yearning and the longing that says, well, I want to get on that boat, and I want to get a ticket, or I know I'm going to work hard so I can get a ticket, or I'm going to take action, I'm going to actually manifest what I want, instead of just waiting for it to be dropped in front of your lap. So there's this sort of feeling of, don't take lightly this feeling of yearning, and learn how to have positive action on it, but also making sure that you're connected to that heart space so that what you're really longing for is actually truly what you desire, and it's not this sort of sense of being unable to move on or be in the present, where you're just longing for that heyday of the past, or you're just wishing for something in the future, but it's just a wish and you're not actually willing to work for it. So yeah, that's sort of what this card is sort of saying. So it's an interesting time. This is coming right at your birthday, and so birthdays are always a great time to kind of take stock and say, okay, what's happened in the last year? Where am I? What are my goals? What do I kind of like? What's really working? What do I kind of still want? Am I satisfied? Where is there still yearning or longing, or what's the next stage? So this is a really great time to be sort of tapping in and saying, okay, it's been your birthday, it's been another year. What does your heart still yearn for? Where is the sense of longing? Like, are you in this moment where for a brief moment you actually are happy and satisfied where you are? Like, maybe this isn't actually, maybe this could be for some of you an actual moment of bliss, of where you, in between yearnings, where you're actually where you really should be and you know it, where you're in the present moment and your heart has taken you to where you want to go. And this could be a look not of longing, but of satisfaction. That's also possible. That you know, it doesn't, you don't have to always be striving for something. So it's a great time for you to check what is that for you. Do you have what you want? Are you longing for something you're not willing to try to get, or that's impossible to get? Or are you feeling something pushing you and spurring you on to action? So I think, yeah, this Virgo season up until equinox feels like a really good time to kind of landing into that feeling. And maybe planning your next step. So Virgo is really great at being kind of fastidious and like working step by step and being quite well organized and knowing what you ought to be doing. So this is a really great time to kind of get yourself organized and connect yourself to your passion, and what would the steps be required in order to get what it is that you're longing for. So that's what I'd kind of suggest, is that Virgo season is this kind of, just kind of collecting information and making a plan and really landing in and feeling what it is that you're connected to and your passion there. Then we have equinox, and equinox, no matter where we are, if we're in the northern or the southern hemisphere, it's this time where it's even, light and dark, the length of night and day is the same, and it's this feeling of, it feels like a standstill for a brief point of time, but it's actually like, there can be this sort of feeling that balance is about things being stationary and not moving, that balance is a flat line, it's 50-50, it's even. But really balance, if it's a point in time, it might be a flat line. But balance through a process, balance through the sum total of a life or over a period of time is a process, and it's a wave. There's peaks, there's lows, and this is life. Balance is having both the highs and the lows. That's what it looks like. So it has those peaks of longing, and it has those moments of satisfaction. It has those moments of feeling really discontented, and it has that moment of elation for your striving. Like it has all of that. So that's one thing to be thinking about, is when we're hit that equinox and moving into Libra season, is thinking of balance as a wave form, and balance as experience between the peaks, and it's just a moment. Equinox is just that moment of the wave where it hits that middle as it goes between the solstices. So it's not where everything stands still. It's just this brief moment where you can look around and say, everything's balanced, but the real balance is actually the whole total of it. So that's sort of what I'm feeling there. So once you're in Libra season, then it really is just feeling, Libra season is a sign of relationships, but it's also a sign of harmony. And it's about trying to, really trying to bring forces into harmony if people are in disagreement or discordant, or if you've got kind of contrasting desires. It's really about trying to get everybody have their needs met. The kind of darker side of Libra is the tendency to just people please and just try to like smooth things over without actually dealing with the issue because you don't like the feeling of disharmony. So try to resist that just rushing to a happy ending if all sides and all needs haven't really been sorted out and worked through. So Libra is a great time for negotiation to try to get everybody's needs met. So this might be a time where now if you've really spent a time in Virgo season to figure out what it is that you're desiring or yearning for, or if you are actually in a moment of contentment, then Libra is when you're like, okay, now the negotiation starts. How are we all going to get what our needs are met, and putting things into action that you've been sort of planning in Virgo season. Now you get to take action on it in a way that is bringing and moving us towards harmony and not just about blasting through on your goals. We're hoping that it's done in a way that kind of all sides and all parties get their needs met. So that's what I've got for you for this September. So again, happy birthday. If you want any additional support, especially, there's a lot of retrogrades at this particular moment as well. Mercury's going retrograde in Libra soon. So that's all of that information is in my Virgo Pay What You Can workshop, also on my YouTube channel. So check that out. That'll give you a little bit of extra support for this season. And otherwise, I will see you next month. Take care, Virgo.